You ever see a photo of some guy on a yacht, sipping champagne, and just feel your eye twitch a little? Not like, wow, inspiring, more like, I hope a seagull poops directly into that glass. That feeling has a name, and it's way more interesting than just jealousy. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's going on in your brain when that feeling shows up, and why it says a lot more about how humans work than it does about you personally. We're talking brain wiring, identity, some genuinely wild research, and a few psychological profiles that are going to make you go, oh, that's my cousin. Let's get into it. So, hating rich people is a pretty broad umbrella. There's the person who silently rolls their eyes at a Tesla. There's the person who watched Succession and was actively rooting for the whole company to implode. Honestly, same. There's the eat the rich crowd. And then there's your uncle at Thanksgiving who somehow connects everything. Inflation, his bad knee, the neighbor's new patio, back to billionaires. These are all different flavors of the same thing, and psychologists actually have a word for it, ressentiment, a French term describing a deep, slow-burning resentment toward people you see as having more power than you. It's not just envy, it's envy that's been left on the stove and nobody turned off the burner. And here's the first thing I want you to hold on to. This feeling is almost never really about money. Money is the symbol. What lives underneath it is way more interesting and way more human. Okay, here's one of my favorite experiments in all of psychology. It's called the Ultimatum Game, and it goes like this. Two strangers, one person gets $10 and decides how to split it. The second person can either accept the split or reject it, in which case neither person gets a single dollar. Now, rationally, you should always accept. Even $1 is better than nothing. But here's what actually happens. When the split feels unfair, people reject it constantly. They walk away with zero just to punish the greedy person. Sound familiar? That's basically every Twitter argument about CEO salaries. Here's the wild part. We are neurologically wired to punish unfairness, even when it costs us personally. Your brain didn't get the memo about capitalism. It's still running a software update from 50,000 years ago when fairness in the tribe was literally a survival issue. So when people see a CEO making 300 times the salary of the average worker, which is a real current number in many large corporations, you know what question your brain is not asking? Is this economically optimal? It's flipping tables. It's becoming your uncle at Thanksgiving. It's ancient biology with a Wi-Fi connection. Here's the thing, though. Raw inequality alone doesn't always generate this level of resentment. So what actually tips people over the edge? Psychologists Paul Piff and Dacher Keltner at UC Berkeley spent years studying how wealth shapes behavior. What they found was not flattering. Wealthier people, on average, displayed less empathy, were more likely to cut off pedestrians in crosswalks, and in one experiment, were more likely to take candy from a bowl labeled as being for children. The children's candy. Let that sink in. Now, does that mean every rich person is out here robbing trick-or-treaters? Obviously not. But here's the question worth asking. Why does that image feel so completely believable? Because the perception that the wealthy look down on regular people, that we're background characters in their movie, is already baked in for a lot of us. And when that perception gets confirmed, even in a lab, it stops being about money. It becomes a dignity thing, a tribal thing. And we do not forget attacks on our dignity. We laminate them and keep them in a drawer forever. Here's something that sounds like a joke, but is actually a peer-reviewed psychological phenomenon. Nobody hates Elon Musk the way your coworker hates the guy in accounting who just got a promotion he didn't deserve. Why? Relative deprivation. It's not about how much you have in absolute terms. It's about how much you have compared to the people immediately around you. A study published in Nature Human Behavior tracked the finances and happiness of hundreds of thousands of people and found that your actual income matters less to your well-being than how your income compares to your neighbors. We're not comparing ourselves to Jeff Bezos. He might as well be a weather system at this point, vast, distant, and not really your problem on a Tuesday. We're comparing ourselves to our college roommate who just bought a lake house, the cousin with the suspiciously nice kitchen renovation, the guy on Instagram who keeps posting about his passive income but never explains what the income is actually from. It's a course, it's always a course. Those comparisons sting because they feel winnable, like theoretically that could have been you. And that gap between theoretically me and actually me is where resentment lives rent-free. Now, here's where the psychology gets really spicy, because a lot of anti-wealth sentiment isn't about inequality at all. It's about moral storytelling. Humans love a villain. We need one. It's how we process suffering. Here's something that'll make you go, Research on wealth attribution shows that people in lower income brackets are significantly more likely to attribute a rich person's success to luck, connections, or exploitation. Meanwhile, wealthy people overwhelmingly attribute their own success to hard work and talent.
Now, who's right? Honestly, both of them in varying proportions.
But here's what matters. The story you tell yourself determines the emotion you feel. Same facts, completely different narrative, completely different gut reaction. And depending on where you grew up, what your parents told you, what your community actually lived through, both stories can be totally rational. Your brain is doing exactly what brains are built to do, pattern matching on real experience. The problem only starts when the story calcifies, when every rich person becomes the same villain automatically. That's when useful anger quietly turns into a subscription you forgot to cancel. All right, let's have some fun, because not everyone who resents wealth is the same. Here are 4 profiles. See which one fits. The fairness absolutist doesn't actually dislike rich people, dislikes systems. Perfectly fine with someone wealthy if they earned it the right way. We'll spend 45 minutes explaining why a $10,000 charity donation from a billionaire is statistically an insult. And the frustrating part is, they're usually correct. The wounded one. This person has a specific return address on their resentment. A layoff, a medical bill that wiped out their savings, a rent increase that pushed them out of the neighborhood they grew up in. The anger isn't abstract. This one deserves empathy before analysis. The status griever did everything they were told. Good grades, good degree, followed all the rules, and the math still didn't add up. Their resentment is partly grief. They're not mad at rich people exactly. They're mad at the promise that didn't show up. The performer loudly hates the rich in public, would absolutely, privately love to be rich, uses anti-wealth sentiment as social currency, posts the system is broken, and also has a vision board. We've all been this person at some point, no judgment. Most real humans are some messy combination of all 4. It's not clean, and that's fine. Here's the question that I think is most worth asking. What is this emotion actually for? Because emotions don't stick around unless they're doing a job. So what job is this one doing? For one thing, social bonding. Shared resentment of a common target is one of the fastest ways humans connect. Why do you think complaining about your boss at happy hour feels warm? You're literally doing tribal bonding over cheese fries. It can also be self-protection. If the system is rigged, you don't have to look too hard at anything else. And look, is that always a cop-out? No, sometimes the system genuinely is rigged. The trick is knowing which version you're in. But the most important function? Resentment can be a moral signal. Has it ever produced anything useful in history? Oh, just labor rights, antitrust law, progressive taxation, and about half of modern democracy. None of that came from a calm policy white paper. It came from people who were genuinely, viscerally fed up and decided to do something about it. So your irritation at a yacht photo? You're in a very long, very human tradition. So here's the bottom line. That eye twitch when you see the yacht? Not jealousy, not bitterness. It's a fairness detector, a tribal brain, a personal history, and a dignity radar all firing at once. That's a lot of psychological machinery to bring to one Instagram post. The real question isn't why we feel it, it's what we do with it. Resentment that just sits there curdles into cynicism, but resentment that gets directed into building something, demanding something, changing something, that's a completely different story. Anyway, if this made you think of someone specific, send it to them. Or don't and just enjoy knowing things about them that they don't know about themselves. See you in the next one.